Welcome back. The Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Dennis McDonough, promises changes are coming after a 12-week strategic review of the VA's electronic health record program. That program's missing one of the most important elements of the federal government's cyber defense strategy. Carol Harris is Director of Information Technology and Cybersecurity Issues at the Government Accountability Office. She testified about the program to the House Veterans Affairs Technology Modernization Subcommittee. Carol, welcome. It is good to see you again. What was the message that you wanted to convey to the subcommittee at this hearing?
The primary message, Francis, was that, VA's IT historically has been very decentralized. And so it's going to take a very concerted effort on the part of the department to break down those silos and over time change the culture so that IT is managed in a much more centralized and effective manner. That was the primary takeaway.
I mentioned the Cerner electronic health record program in the introduction. I think it's important to note that's really only working at one location across the entire country. VISTA is still a really important part, and will be for a long time, of delivery of care to veterans, right, Carol?
That's correct. And so, VA has made some important progress in the implementation, or I should say the development of the Cerner program. However, in terms of the things that they've done well, they have started developing system capabilities. They have deployed training. They've also performed some important testing events as well. Unfortunately, we did recommend that they postpone further deployment of the new system until any resulting critical and high severity test findings are appropriately addressed. Now, these test findings of this nature could result in system failure if left alone. So it's critically important for VA to implement the recommendations.
You also testified to the subcommittee about the Financial Management Business Transformation Program. That's the back office financial management program VA has been undertaking, it seems like, for a long time. Where does that stand right now, Carol?
So you're right. VA has had multiple attempts at modernizing and upgrading their financial and acquisition management systems. Right now, they're in the process of implementing a new effort. And we recommended that they develop reliable cost and schedule estimates using best practices to minimize the risk of cost overruns and schedule delays, and hopefully prevent what has happened in the past on this effort.
That important element that I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, Carol, is cybersecurity, and you report to this subcommittee on the cybersecurity efforts that the agency's taking. Where do they stand right now?
Well, right now, there's a lot of room for improvement when it comes to cybersecurity. We still have a handful of recommendations that are open related to addressing known deficiencies on their high-impact systems. And these are systems that, if they were to go down, would have a catastrophic impact on VA's ability to deliver its mission. We also have made a number of recommendations as it relates to their cybersecurity risk management program. There are basically 5 foundational steps that VA should be taking to take a more risk-based approach to dealing with cybersecurity. And they've implemented 1 of 5. And so we've made 4 recommendations to help them integrate cybersecurity risk into their enterprise risk management program. We've also made a number of recommendations related to VA's IT supply chain risk management as well. So lots of room for improvement here.
1 of 5 doesn't sound that great. Is it your sense that they are on the path to implementing some or all of the other 4, or have they just not gotten there yet, Carol?
We do have a sense that they're on their way. I mean, they've agreed with all of the recommendations. And so really what it's going to take is sustained leadership in addressing these serious IT issues. And so our job will be to monitor the actions that they take to effectively implement our recommendations.
The final item I wanted to ask you about in this testimony, and it's not peculiar just to VA, this is a government-wide issue on some level or other, but you're right, VA has demonstrated mixed results in implementing key provisions of the Federal Information Technology Acquisition Reform Act, FITARA. We're, I think, 5 or 6 years into FITARA. We're still struggling with this at not just at VA, but agencies across government. Why do you think that's the case, Carol?
Well, in the case of VA and at some other agencies, VA's leadership on IT issues has been siloed. Again, with VA, it's because IT has been very decentralized. So it will take a sustained, concerted effort time to change that culture. And I think that that's one of the main hurdles into effectively implementing FITARA.
Carol Harris, thanks very much for joining me today. I appreciate your time very much.
Thanks very much, Francis.